Hello, it's Miss Laura with the Wichita Falls Arts Council, and today we're going to do some scratch art. To do this, we'll need a piece of scratch art paper. So there is a layer of plasticky rainbow material hiding under this matte black surface that has been painted or screened on, and all we have to do is scratch through this black surface to access that rainbow sheet and those rainbow colors. And we can do that with our special scratching tool, which is basically just a giant toothpick. It's just a regular piece of wood. You can see there's no lead or ink or anything. All we're doing with this is scratching away the surface that's already on here to reveal color. So this is just a collection of random images that have been scratched into the scratch art paper. You can see when you clear off large areas, it kind of looks like a shiny rainbow. Make these areas here, or you can make very thin lines. Here's one that's not just a collection of random images, it's one composition. So we have these little blob creatures and I put them in a setting, but they have big areas scratched away to make some nice bright spots and some bright objects. And then this one here, which is in progress, we have a bunch of negative images where I've scratched an outline of shapes and then scratched around it to have these individual black shapes. So using the black as the material for the things I'm trying to draw, instead of making them rainbow. So I'm just doing the opposite. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit of scratching on my sheet here to show you different kinds of things that you can do with the tool. Okay, so I'm going to create 3 hearts, and they're all going to be a little different. So I'm going to start right here. And of course, you are not doing this unless you want to make hearts later. I'm just doing this as an example. You're free to create your own composition after this. Okay, so I have 3 different hearts that I've scratched onto my paper. I've scratched just a little outline to create the 3 of them. I'm going to do 3 different things. The first thing I'm going to do is scratch the inside of this heart to make a rainbow heart. And I can do that by angling my tool so that it's scratching sort of on the side here so that I can clear larger areas. Because if I were to use the point and have it face straight down, I can only scratch very little, and it's going to take a long time for me to scratch this entire heart. So I'm going to angle it. Remember, once you scratch away the black layer, you cannot put it back. Once it's scratched, it is gone. So take a little bit of time and care and make sure you're creating the designs that you want. I usually use a piece of scratch paper, just regular white paper, to draw my designs first, to make sure they look good, and then I'll scratch them in once I have drawn an image that I like on scratch paper, or I guess scrap paper. This is our scratch paper. Okay, so here's the first heart. It is a little rainbow heart. The next thing I'm going to do is create a black heart by scratching, instead of on the inside of my outline, I'm going to scratch around the outside. And I could scratch right up to that outline that I made. And I'm twisting my paper around. So I'm approaching it from a comfortable angle. Okay, so I've completely scratched around my second heart. So this is how you'd make a black image. Again, doing an outline first and then scratching around it, just like in this one here. All of this stuff, the corn, the ladder, the pear, everything was drawn first, and then scratching a little aura around it, and then filling in with different kinds of shapes as I go. Okay, our last option is if we don't want something that's very light or very dark, we can do something that's in between, and we can use something called crosshatching to do that. So this time, instead of scratching from the side with this broad edge of my giant toothpick, I can draw fine lines with the point. And by doing this, I kind of create like a gray area somewhere in between the light and the dark, because I'm scratching these fine lines, which is the light, and I'm leaving those little areas in between black. And so that is the dark. So it's somewhere in between. So I can scratch in one direction. I can also crosshatch by scratching in the opposite direction. Kind of looks like a heart-shaped waffle. Okay, so these are three different options. And of course, you don't have to do straight lines inside to make a gray area. You can do wiggly lines, or you can just scratch randomly. It can be a little disordered, but this gray area can be created by it and just not scratching all of the surface away. Okay, so I'm going to draw some designs on my scrap piece of paper. And then outline it like I did the hearts. And then begin scratching. So you can start whenever you want. Thank you for joining me.